What's really good, everybody? It's Rashad and Jarrel. Today we're going to be reviewing 13 Reasons Why Season 2. I know it's taken a long time to get to it, but life gets in the way, as usual. I'm going to get through a lot of old videos that I should have put out already this week, hopefully. So keep an eye out for those ones. Well, without further ado, full spoiler alert. So if you haven't seen it or you don't care, this is the video for you. If you haven't seen it, just watch it because it's worth watching it. I got my boy Jarrel on today just so he can share his thoughts because he's watched the first 2 seasons like back to back basically.
I watched like the first 2 seasons in like the space of like 4 days.
That's a binge.
I don't think I can tell you how I did it, but
alright, what did you think of the first season as a whole? Like
the first season I thought was interesting. It caught me straight away, and it was mad. Obviously, just because you're talking about. Like, at first, like, obviously my sister had watched it a little bit and she was like, I didn't know what it was really about, but I assumed it was kind of like a chick flick kind of thing and I didn't really think it was that serious. But then Rashad had continued watching the first season and he told me that it was sick. So I thought, fuck it, might as well. Like,
I think I was in the second season when I told you to watch it. So
yeah, it was. It was when the second season came out. I think my sister had already watched the second season. Good God, why?
You should probably...
Yeah, it's a bit mad still. I personally, if I knew it was that at that level, then I probably wouldn't. But it was nah. I'm a good believer in that it was a positive thing. It does like center around like children and like kids of her age
issues that
and exactly. So it was. I'm pretty happy she watched it, and I know her being the person she is. Hopefully, she would have taken the good stuff from it, and I believe that. It makes sense that everybody should kind of just take a step back from like just different things that may make us feel a bit uncomfortable and actually try and get to the root of these issues. Like, do you know what I mean? Because everybody has their own situation which is exclusive to them, and like it's important that we give that light because people go through things every day and we don't know what they're going through.
Not a lot of people like to talk about things like this.
They don't. Everybody's got their own bubble, 3 faces, man. The one that you show everyone, the one you show your family, and then the one that you have for yourself.
So the characters are all in different situations in season 2. Clay is now with Sky, trying to forge on and have a relationship, even though he's in denial about Hannah's death. He doesn't want to think about her and stuff like that. I think his arc in this season was a good one. Because you watched the first season, you can tell the difference in Clay from first season.
Yeah, man. Like, obviously, Clay comes across as a bit of a socially awkward person in the first season, but then, like, as they shed a little bit more light on the story, I believe that it shows like a different side to him. He's a little bit more confident. He has a lot more about him personality-wise, and because you get to see him step away from the tapes and kind of deal with everything what's going on by himself. You're only seeing him in the first season in a situation where it's quite traumatic for him. A girl that he loves, like, is dead and he's dealing with the stress of that. So you don't really get to see a good view of Clay in the first season.
He's trying to move on in the
He's trying to move on in the second season. You get to see him kind of come into himself a little bit and you see like a mad sense of justice that he has, that he did have from the first season.
It's kind of grown
as well. It's grown quite a bit. And he's been a little bit more sensible about kind of way he feels like he's going to delve justice like to everybody. But who else? Who else did you say he's had like some mad...
Justin. I didn't like Justin in the first season. In the second season, Justin is probably one of my favorite. Apart from Clay, he's one of my favorite characters. My 2 favorite characters because his arc in this was crazy.
It reminds me of like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
What's the dude's
name?
Dustin. Dustin. No, not Dustin.
Yeah, Dustin.
No.
The one with the teeth.
No, I'm talking about the guy that was bullying because he was upset with the...
Oh shit, what was his name?
What was his name?
Steve!
Man like Steve.
Yeah, it was like that.
It reminds me of Steve. Steve,
that
first season, literally kind of, Steve was a bit of a dick. And second season, Steve actually turned out to be a pretty nice guy.
Like a really nice guy.
And so did Justin.
Justin was just broken. He was just damaged, man.
I love the way...
He was in pain, bro.
That the second season doesn't... Obviously, like the first season is very much understanding Hannah's situation. The second season is very much understanding everybody's situation.
Yeah, from all their perspectives, how they saw the situation go. Because there's always two sides to every story.
Exactly.
So,
and it's good that it gives another foresight into thinking about how other people that do things that aren't necessarily good and can influence people in stressful situations to do radical things. Yeah, it reminds me of the way that it could have easily not just been Hannah, and it could have been any of them. Do you know what I mean? All of them had their own realities, and at the end of the day, like, people go through bad things,
but they will deal with them differently.
And they will deal with them differently. Now, somebody could be going through something which is mad. Yeah, I'm not gonna say a scenario because it's a bit crude, but like anything, could be going on. Think of the worst scenario that you know that's happened to someone you know, and then something that's not as bad can happen to somebody else, but because they don't know anything worse, that is the worst thing that has ever happened to them in their life. And you, as a person, no one can say what can be gauged dependent on your reality, because at the end of the day, that is individual to you. Like, do you know what I mean? And it has to be respected in that way. Like, you can't just say,
it's not
you haven't gone through
no one's pain's worse than others.
It's just the same pain. And some people have worse situations, but at the same time, you can't discredit others for having their situations. You know what I'm saying? You can only see it from a different perspective,
or try to.
And at the end of the day, like, Justin, like, he had it pretty hard. Like, you know what I mean? His mum doesn't essentially care about him. She's in a bit of an abusive relationship with their stepdad and stuff.
I think she cares, but she's just trapped.
Yeah,
she doesn't do enough.
And she's taking drugs as well. Like,
so I don't know what her actual situation is. She must have her reasons. But Justin's basically homeless in this season when they first find him, living on the street. He has his whole arc where he does go back with Clay, gets cleaned up, stops taking drugs for a little bit at least, and even at the end, like, they managed to adopt him.
Yeah, that was
amazing. Which was one of my best scenes from the episode, and the last episode was probably my favorite as well. But that one scene where he doesn't even believe Clay at first. Yeah, like, he's thinking, who would want to adopt me?
And Clay wasn't really on, like, him being around at first. Obviously, he didn't really dig.
And he didn't want to him. Like, he was a dick to him just because of past things, which he would be. Yeah, but that was still like a brotherly relationship. Like,
it progressed to that. It was nice.
It was so heartwarming to see that.
Yeah. So Jessica is.
I don't know if I liked Jessica's role this year. I understand it, but I don't agree with it. That's just my own personal opinions. I understand that I haven't gone what she went through, so I can't really understand her motivations fully. But the way that she did not help in the court case really stayed with me. And even when they found the Polaroids and the way that she took them away and stuff like that and didn't want to use them as evidence, I was just like, you're hurting the situation, man. It was hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. I think what Jessica's character represents is 95% of people that might act in that way in real life to that situation. Do you know what I mean?
So you think 95% of people in that situation would act the way that she did?
Alright, maybe not 95. I'd say maybe like good percentage. Good percentage. Like, do you know what I mean? 80% of normal people aren't really going to want to be put on blast for those kind of things. Let's just think about it. I don't know if there's anybody that has been has suffered from that kind of situation.
You don't want the limelight.
But I know I can understand and respect somebody that will put their hands up and say, like, listen, this is what I've been through, and I understand how much of a responsibility it is to help others. But in that same way,
you might not want that.
Some people just genuinely don't want to deal with it like that. Now,
that's not I believe
it's not a bad thing, but I do believe that it is important to try and speak about things and get them out there. And I don't look down on her for not.
No, I don't look down on her. I was just disappointed. Yeah. But obviously she had her reasons and I have to respect that. Yeah. So let's talk about Alex. Now, Alex, I actually thought he was lying when he said that he didn't remember. But as the episodes went on, you realise that he did have amnesia from the gunshot when he tried to kill himself. His motor functions were all fucked up. And he had like a lot of anger in this season, like a lot. And to me, sometimes it seemed a bit funny. I know it wasn't. but just because he was just so small and frail, and he was getting that angry sometimes, and the fact that he was just getting really frustrated.
Alex had heart.
Yeah, he did.
Alex had fucking heart,
and he also spoke his mind sometimes when he didn't need to, like when he called Bryce a rapist. Like,
Yeah,
I know he had to say it, but he didn't have to say it when Jess was around, because that just made her feel really bad, and that was terrible for her.
Yeah, some of the things that he did was just a bit like irrational and stuff.
He
And
was
like,
pushing people away for no reason,
and he was going through a lot of stuff himself. Obviously, it showed his background. It's like his dad was a bit like kind of militant on him, not.
Up until
But
this
then
season,
it was weird.
fine, because you remember him from the first season.
Yeah, and then this one he was just carrying on like dad was a little bit less dominant. Like, you know what I mean, like so.
Yeah, but his mum a lot more as well.
So his mum, yeah. But Alex was obviously trying to recover from the gunshot wound and as well deal with all the stuff that was happening around him, because he hadn't actually listened to the tapes as well in the first season.
Yeah.
Because of his memory loss. So he had to kind of go through it all over again. And then it was heavily based on him remembering obviously little bits that had happened in the first season.
Which we didn't even know because it was from his perspective. So you find out throughout the course of the episodes that Alex actually wasn't present, but he was around at the time that Hannah got raped. So he heard it happen, and he was with Montgomery, and Montgomery went to look through the window and said it was just Bryce fucking another girl. Alex was playing the game, so didn't really think too much about it. But after hearing the tapes, and when he does remember, he realizes that he was present in the shape or form while she was getting raped, and he could have seen and stopped it, and that's the guilt that made him shoot himself, which you don't know from the first season, because I know Alex was going on like a downward spiral during the first season, but I didn't think he would take his life at the end, or try to take his life at the end, but now you realise.
You understand why. What do you think about him and Jess at the end?
I don't know, man. I feel Jess needs to behave herself a little bit, man. She's kissing Alex and then going and fucking Justin. I understand her and Justin got some history and stuff, and her and Alex do have some history, but
and she goes to parties with the next man and lipsing that man when she first meets them, and sit down, Jess, man. It's been a traumatic experience.
Like when her dad caught her as well, you just wouldn't.
Yeah, that was long, man. What are you doing around here, man? This is your area. But come in the car, man.
He does understand in the end that she was just trying to feel normal, and fair enough, if that's what she had to do, that's what she had to do. It just could have put her in a situation where she did freak out and she did become even more depressed and traumatized from her experience, because she was pushing herself too far, too fast.
Zach's been getting it in. Zach was getting it in.
Did you like that?
I thought they were mad cute, man. Can't lie.
They were.
They were
but
cute,
the fact that I felt Clay's pain that I didn't know this before. I don't know why. I felt like
it's like, are you dumb? That's my girl. You've been out here. Go, this is romping shop, like I'm saying, like they're not romping, like taking the
like
piss,
it wasn't
bro.
even like a one-time thing. They were sexing also. Like she learned how to be good at sex and what she liked from him. Like
that was
Clay could have never matched up to that, bro. She was all riding him and thing. You don't know about them thing there, bro. We can't even have sex with Sky, bro.
Yeah, Zach. I liked Zach's character because Zach kind of represented what Hannah and Clay could have been.
Yeah. And
it's mad because obviously Zach was like the perfect boyfriend for Hannah, but he just slapped. He was a backbone, bro.
He was ashamed. Yeah, he had no spine.
No spine.
He kind of grew on towards the end, but I think by that time it was too far.
But he even mentions it about to Clay, and he says, "Because you're brave and I'm a coward." And it's true, man. Zach, you're a coward, bro. Like he didn't want anybody to know about Hannah.
He didn't want no drama.
For good reasons. Or I don't know if the reasons folded into to help his situation.
He couldn't stand up to himself. He couldn't stand up with his mum, his friends, and even when like they were insulting Hannah and stuff, he'd always come back after they'd gone and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry they did that." Are you sorry though?
Yeah, like.
Are you really sorry if you're
gonna go to cinema and chill with them? Like, I'm saying that.
Like you're not gonna say nothing. And yeah, he did back up the other guys a lot, like Alex. He was helping Alex with physio and stuff like that.
Yes,
and I did like there was a lot of character development in this show.
Yeah, he came a bit more into himself in the second season.
Yeah.
But as well, it does show, it highlights the way that how subtly like you can be bullied like at school.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
so the smallest things that
that's
you do
just
to
peer
someone.
pressure, like, do you know what I mean? And he is obviously trying to, he's fallen into the category of being with the jocks and that, like, do you know what I mean? And
yeah, so even the smallest things that you might do to someone, you might call someone a name, you might make fun of them because of their clothes or the money that they have, anything like that can be seen as bullying, or it is bullying in some sort of way, shape or form. So just be nice to each other, guys, because I can be addicted to people sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. And
more time.
He's definitely addicted to people.
More time. More time, he's a dick still.
99% of the time I'm addicted to people.
99.9% of the time you're a dick. Okay, Tyler. Now, Tyler, in the first season, when I'm hearing my man outside that window, like, just taking pictures, bro. Rage, bro.
It was
rage. What are you doing, bro? Outside. Like, imagine if that's your daughter, bro. Man's outside your daughter's window, just snapping, hoping for the pic. Ooh, I want that one. Nah, bro. What the fuck? Man is out there, just in the bush.
Like, it was creepy, and
mad creepy.
When he did explain why he did it, I did get him to some extent, but I still don't agree with what he did, and he should have, if that's how he felt, he should not have gone around stalking her or anything like that. He could have literally just asked her for pictures or something. I know he wanted to catch her in the moment, but you can't be taking pictures of people around a mission like that, man.
But it comes down to the fact that obviously because he does it all the time, he
almost
almost becomes
desensitized.
He's desensitized to it, man. And I can understand how it's a bit mad because, bearing in mind, he's still our kids, and some of the things I don't want to give them too much of a belie, but at the same time, some of the things that they do are just stupid, like,
and
they're
impulsive and from an emotional place.
It's
not really thinking.
Yeah, like, and man might think he can get away with them kind of things, like, you know what I'm saying, but
sometimes
rather than chastising man just for making a mistake or maybe not fully understanding privacy, like, do you know what I'm saying?
A lot happened.
It demonized him completely throughout the series, which allowed him to become another radical child, like, do you know what I'm saying? Or radical young adult, like, that was trying to do his, like, you know what I'm saying? Man showed up to the school with a gun. Now, I'm not being funny, bruv, but what was Monty doing in that toilet, bruv?
No.
Man licked off his head on the mirror, smash.
I thought he wanted to kill him. I thought that hit on the sink would have killed him, because when he put him up,
two hits on the sink,
glazed,
bang, bang, dropped on the floor,
and then he tried to drown him and shit. Like, and this is the worst thing that has ever happened to him, and this is probably the worst thing that could ever happen to someone. I could not really watch the scene the first time I watched it. I didn't think it was gonna happen. When he got the broom, I was like, you can't be that sick.
How much about that?
More than that. He kept putting it in. And the thing is, Tyler didn't deserve this, because obviously Joe was saying that Tyler was demonized to the extent that even the people on the tape thought he was the worst one.
Yeah.
More than Bryce and everything, they thought Tyler was the worst one. And you saw him trying to get into the group and be like, I'm like you guys, we all fucked up. And to his credit, he did defend Hannah in the court case. Mm-hmm. And he just kept getting shit on over and over
Even
again.
with the friend, like, do you know what I mean? Like, he kind of got into a little situation where he was trying to balance the friendship with, like, the first time he's ever had a girl that's kind of interested in him.
Got confused,
fucked up, and that went prematurely ejaculated, man.
So yeah, I think he handled that situation badly, because he didn't need to speak to the girl like that at all.
Yeah, and he was doing it kind of to more be... I don't know what
I don't know, man. I think emotions just happened.
Yeah, he was confused.
And he didn't know what to do, so he lashed out and didn't realise that he's going to hurt his friend, hurt the girl, and he's going to end up with no one. But
it fucked him. And then, on top of that, he was in a situation where he was feeling fucked. And now this is the point where you're thinking, oh shit, Tyler's at his peak. They actually find some help for him, they take him away, and he actually comes back reformed.
But even before that, just see when like he started getting his power back with a friend, they were doing pranks and stuff, they almost became bullies themselves. Well, they did technically become bullies themselves. And then Tyler got more comfortable with weapons to the extent that he was down naming the bottles that he was shooting and stuff like that. He killed the bird that time, which is literally like the first time
it was adding up still.
Yeah. But.
So the build up was there, but at the end of the day, like in his eyes, all of those things were obviously quite minuscule, even though they weren't. But he was pushing a line. But his parents did do the right thing. They took him away from the situation, and he left. He came back semi-reformed, and he's at a point where he's trying to get to grips with everything that's been going on. Now, the first thing that happens, and the first actual incident where he has a confrontation, he actually goes about it in the correct way, and he is punished in the worst way for that act of goodness. And
he was actually trying to like apologize and be like,
what kind of reward system is that? Like, he can't.
I thought he came back and was just pretending, and he was gonna shoot up the school anyway. And he came back and he was apologetic to and Montgomery, after Bryce told him not to do anything and that he was done with him, he decided to lash out, like, because Tyler lost them the season. It's just like, I understand it meant a lot more to Montgomery, but that doesn't mean that you go and sexually assault someone like that. I don't know what in his head, like, I know the stuff with the clubhouse, they were saying that girls will party and stuff like that, but stuff like this,
and he put such value on it, like about his life. Oh, this is ruining my life. You fucked up my life.
But it meant a lot to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, obviously it doesn't mean a lot to us, but I'm saying that it's still, even though it did mean a lot to him, I don't know how he can even fathom what he did in his head. Like, how would you? Well, if you put a broom up someone, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and who are these brothers that are holding him down?
Like, what do they think of themselves at the end of the day when they're holding man down?
Wiseman got followers, like, do you know what I'm saying? If it wasn't his ones, I would have thought it made more sense. But like,
how did, like, none of them even said, "Oh, nah, this is too much."
That was very. I feel like that was a bit of a unrealistic thing. Like,
now, obviously, we don't condone Tyler actually taking action and shooting up the school, but I completely understand why he had that motivation, like why he wanted to do that. I don't condone it at all, but
I think that it was silly him trying to go and shoot up the school. I think he should have found. I can't even say it. Anyway.
See?
Like,
no, I'm just saying that shooting
up people that ain't accountable for the situation. Although
I don't think he would have. I don't think
he would have done it, but
because he told Clay to go, and I don't think he was going to start shooting up everyone. I think he was going to find the people that wronged him, and maybe a couple more that were involved, and take them out. Now, it was just completely understandable. I would really, really not want to think about the fact that there's certain kids in situations exactly like this, where they feel like they need to go and hurt the people that have been hurting them, and
but like, I don't know. I can't even presume to act like I could understand that situation, because
now I know this is a lot shocking than most things you'll watch on like Netflix and stuff like that, but I do feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had.
It's an important show still.
It is. I think this show is a masterpiece. I do. In what it represents, I think it's a masterpiece. I know a lot of people don't like it for various reasons.
Some people say it's a bit too dark and stuff, but unfortunately that's a life that we live in, and for us to understand and help the people that we value and love, we have to kind of be aware. We have to be aware of the issues that they can be going through, like, and try and provide a way of giving them empathy so that they can understand that they're not alone in that situation, and letting them know that there are people that care about them that can help them, do you know what I mean, get through that situation as well.
Right, so one of my favourite moments of this season were the court case scenes, and that was just because Hannah's mum and finally decided to fight, and she had brought a legal case against the school board and the school bar, I think it was, the school system, what do they call it over there?
System? Yeah, I think it was school system.
The district.
District, yeah.
School district. Anyways, yeah, and I like to see the testimonies of all the people that were involved. A lot of people disappointed me. Chloe, Jess, Clay couldn't really get his words out that much, and they twisted it too much. Tony got fucking vandalized on the stand.
Clay and the MD situation, like that was a bit of a mad thing when he
when he took the molly. and was like, "You took drugs, Clay? When?" Oh, nah, that was.
Call me for God.
There was a lot of revelations from like different point of views, and not just that, just flashbacks of scenes that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, obviously that was with the Zach stuff as well.
Yeah, it was great. It was good. There was a lot of
Bryce made up that lie about Hannah and them not going to different places and stuff.
That's when I was doubting it. I didn't think all of it was a lie, but I think he came from a place of truth, which
they showed it again, innit? And it was obviously like she was cussing him and stuff, and they went to the place like once.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And he tried to kiss her, and she backed off from that. But it showed Hannah in a bad light, and I think that's what eventually won the school's case because
of the drugs and that situation, probably.
Plus the situation that Hannah actually bullied someone in her previous school.
That was the defining point. So, yeah, big twist. Hannah's a fucking bully, like, and it's just another way of turning it on its head.
Different perspective.
Because like obviously the whole time, for all the viewers, you're identifying with Hannah as this person that is so much like you guys, and then it turns out she kind of isn't.
Or she is. Because it just shows you that Hannah's, in her essence, in her core, she's not perfect. She wasn't a perfect victim, as her mum said. She did make mistakes.
Some would
she
call
did
it
do things that she shouldn't have done.
Some would call it like poetic justice, like the way it kind of came around, but it's not. It wasn't.
What do you mean?
As in the fact that she was bullying someone else and in turn, ironically, got bullied at the next school that she left to go to get away from being the bully. Do you know what I mean?
It's just irony, but life was ironic, I guess. The fact that Hannah had been like this to someone and then received it herself did portray her in a very bad light.
Mm-hmm.
And because of Jessica not coming through with the rape story in time, Chloe denying the rape as well, that did hurt the case a lot, I feel. And to the point where I was starting to, when the final verdict came and the school was found not guilty, I kind of saw that coming. Yeah, not in a predictable way, but I was less shocked because it was like, yeah, I didn't think it was going to go that way either, to be honest. But then Bryce actually got arrested because Jess did tell the story, and Justin gave his statement, which also got him arrested for accessory to sexual assault. But,
yeah. And Bryce ended up coming out after like 4 weeks or something. Mad thing, but I'm getting away with it.
I don't know how he got away with that. I was so angry, and he just moved school and started again.
But it's realistic, and that's what I liked about the show.
Not everyone does get.
Not everyone gets justice, and it's not a fairy tale ending. And shit is
no matter how much you want it to be.
Shit is fuckeries out here, and it's what you make of it. Really, you kind of have to like roll with the punches, I guess. And it's not okay. Don't get it twisted. It's not that it's okay. It's just that sometimes the situations
is out of your control.
And we have to just kind of move past them and not let them control us. But the teacher, I'm going to touch on the teacher. There's the counsellor.
I liked that a lot. I feel like he did redeem himself this season. He was one person that let Hannah down the most. He was there when she needed him the most. I think he was the icing on the cake because she got help. Well, she asked for help twice. And when she went to him, she didn't get the answer that she wanted. Even though you can argue that she didn't make herself more clearer, he did know where she was going and he could have done more. He said it himself.
And it's
no
a
matter
shame.
What you guys think, he said it himself.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I actually did not like him. And I remember like in the first season when I was watching it, I was thinking, I knew this fucking self-righteous prick is gonna be.
You didn't like him the first season?
I didn't like him, bro.
I
knew he did something.
Yeah,
I knew he did something dirty, bro. I knew he. I don't want to say he failed, but
he did. I kind of
feel like he did.
He did. Everyone on the tapes and everyone that was a reason that she died failed.
Do you think Clay failed?
Clay did fail. 100% Clay failed. Clay says it himself. He did fail Hannah.
You think he should have stayed longer?
I feel like she told him to go, and the way she told him to go, I would have gone at that point, but I would have still failed her. I would have, and she did tell him to go, and I understand why she did, but sometimes, especially when you're a person like Clay that doesn't really understand social interactions that much, he hasn't got a lot of experience.
He's taking
with
what she's saying straight away.
He doesn't want to cause her any more anguish, so she.
But did he fail, or was he just human? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He failed because he was human. We're all human. We all make mistakes, so he did fail. We would have all failed in that situation. because she wanted him to stay there. But even though she told him explicitly to go, she did want him to stay there.
But based on that, then you could say Hannah kind of failed as well.
She did fail him, and that's why he was on the tape, because she said it was a two-sided sword. It wasn't the same thing like everybody else where one thing happened. She also acknowledged that she didn't give him what he wanted from her either, and certain things in her life traumatized her in the way that she couldn't even ask him for help in the way that she wanted it either.
He's given his point of view, and he's speaking.
Oh, when he's given a point of view about the meeting with Hannah, that was
one of the most emotional episodes for me still.
Yeah,
because it was like
when he was crying.
He realized how much he had failed, and it showed how much it wasn't intentional from the first season, and that actually redeemed him in my eyes. Like,
it wasn't intentional, but you could see that how easy it could have been to have a different conversation.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what he
didn't see, and it was just that.
It was that
hindsight. Literally, it's that hindsight where he's looking back and thinking, "Fuck.
Should I have said no? Should I have not allowed her to walk out? Should I have said, why are you going?" Because he's a teacher at the end of the day. She can't just get up and
that is his job.
You know what I'm saying? That is his job. If she's telling him that she's in distress and he's duty bound to get as much information as he can. And him following protocol lost everything that he had to try and save Hannah.
And that is why the system is still not perfect. And it's not fucked. And essentially you need to be a little bit more. You need to be doing a little bit more than just your textbook job. Do you know what I mean? In a situation,
you need to go that extra mile, because these are kids that don't necessarily want you to know they're in pain, but they could. And he gave the folder of all the people that were in real danger to the principal,
and he just threw on the table, bro.
Okay,
threw on the table. Tyler was right at the top,
because Tyler had been abused probably the most out of everybody, because they just victimized him like that. But yeah, I feel like, what's the teacher's name? Porter, Mr. Porter.
Yeah.
He did redeem himself. That scene where he was crying was extremely emotional. Yeah, acting was on point.
Yeah. I ain't seen many things since Biker Boys still.
Oh yeah. Sick. But yeah, I think all the acting in this was on point. Clay held the whole thing up on his shoulders, and the scenes where he was speaking to Hannah when she was like a little hallucination of his, and he was like screaming at her and stuff like that, that was just perfect. And I think one of my favourite scenes is a Clay scene, and it was at the dance where him and Hannah's song came on, and that scene made me tear up, I'm not gonna lie, because when everyone was hugging him and everyone could just they were just sharing their pain, that was a beautiful. That's why I say this show is a masterpiece, because it's just moments like that. It's just.
Where did you when you was watching that scene? Where was you at? Was you here? Was you chilling?
Yeah, I was at home.
Just crying.
Just curled up, just
crying.
I was just crying, bro. I was just like, wow, it's just so sad, and I don't know how I would be reacting if I was going through the same thing as them. But it's also beautiful in the fact they all showed that they were there for each other. And these are people that you didn't like in season 1. You know what I'm saying? This is Zach, this is Courtney, this is... No, Marcus wasn't there.
Fuck Marcus, man.
Yeah, fuck Marcus.
Fuck Marcus. We didn't even talk about Marcus, man. Marcus was a snake, bro.
Yeah, fuck Marcus. We don't
fuck Marcus. Fuck Bryce, man.
Definitely fuck Bryce. Bryce... I feel like Bryce was starting to feel some sort of remorse when he was hearing the tapes, and when the tapes got released and he heard his own
he didn't give a shit, man.
His own confession that he raped her and stuff. He just cared about. That's when you first saw him actually visibly shaking. But after that, he was thinking about it, and he was all getting an erection and shit.
Man get one big half lung pan a cocky erection up in his trousers. My man started rubbing up himself, blood. What to this brother?
Yeah, I was just
like... Why are you thinking about
raping Hannah? He's definitely going to do it again.
Yo, you got a steak man like that, bro. You got a steak man. Yo, the man there, the vampire man there, bro. They can't live, bro. We got a steak man like that, bro. Serious thing, bro.
We do not condone violence.
No violence.
Steak him, bro.
Steak him up, man.
So, just to sum it up, guys, I would give this season of 13 Reasons Why a 10 out of 10. It was a masterpiece, and that's the most I can say about it. What about you?
Just to sum up, guys, I'm going to give this season a 10 out of 10, man. Yeah, I thought it was amazing, and
straight 10 out of 10.
Straight 10 out of 10. Like, anybody that's feeling a bit funny about the series, yo, like, give it a chance, man. I was fully not on it, but I came around still, and it was worth it. Like, it looked so chick flicky to me, man. I don't know, man. Even with I wasn't feeling it anyway, but
I understand people think that it glorifies suicide and it makes you feel like suicide's an option and stuff like that. And it kind of does, but you can't tell this story without both sides being shown.
Yeah, you can't.
It's not
fair.
It's
not fair.
It showed
biased,
how Hannah did it, but Hannah may have felt like that at the time. But it also shows that the people that you hurt most are not the people that hurt you. It's the people that love you. So suicide technically isn't an option because it should never be an escape. And I wish there were no one that felt like this, but I know there are. And shows like this are relevant and they are important because they let people that don't have these situations, have never been around these situations, know what you guys are going through, and hopefully they'll be able to get you the help that you need. Anyways, guys, those were our thoughts on 13 Reasons Why Season 2. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you ever been through anything like this? Do you think it was relatable, or do you think it was just glorifying certain aspects? Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new, and as usual, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Taylor about the fucking flex.